Good evening, gents and ladies. Today I'd like to discuss with you the advantages of export orientation over the protectionist trade policy. I'll start by stating the main advantages of export orientation and disadvantages of protectionism, and later I'll mention a couple of key significant examples. Protectionism is essentially inward-looking. It's also referred to as import substitution, since we substitute domestic goods in place of imports. Three main ingredients, and sometimes four, are involved. Number one, and most prominent, is state intervention. This leads to number two, which is attempts by the state to protect certain industries through legal or technical means. And there's a fly buzzing around me. Number three, high tariffs or taxes on imports and other restrictions on imports, such as an outright ban on certain types of products. Number four, sometimes the state grants licenses and imposes controls on production or other regulations, such as price controls and quantity controls. The thinking is this: the state can either help to develop key new industries, struggling industries that need a boost, or focus on growth in the domestic market. Basically, you focus inward and try to protect yourself. The results, well, it usually proves successful for a short time, so the proponents like to say we're doing a great job. But in the long run, it usually doesn't work out so well. And after several years go by and the results are not so stellar, the officials start lying to the public about the actual results. But almost without exception, these types of systems always fail to produce viable growth for the economy. The reasons for failure are rather consistent. Number one, poor market feedback. There's essentially no true information from a market and a lack of decision-making from the market. Number two, there's no incentive for investment in R&D or productivity improvements. Number three, we still rely on imports for inputs, and they tend to be either too costly given the domestic market or of a very low quality. And finally, the state support incentives generally lead to corruption, because you have to be connected with the state in order to acquire a license. In summary, only the cronies get the licenses. You end up with a misallocation of resources. You produce goods that are not in the most demand by society. There's little incentive for research and development, but there is money to be made if you're a connected person or a connected company. The main problem here is that as soon as the state pulls back on support, or when there's some economic shock, the whole system falls apart. And the reason for that is because the state is supporting these industries or supporting the economy, there's a lack of competition, which leads to no alternate industry or very little alternate products and industries to pick up the slack. A much better choice, which historically has proven viable, is export orientation. There are five main ingredients for export orientation. Number one is competition. Competition at all levels of production and sales, both domestically and outside the country, leads to better products and lower costs. Number two, market signals, and this is very important. The open market provides information through prices and quantities produced, and this allows producers to choose the right product and the right quantity that's in demand by society and by the market. Number three, incentive for value chain integration. Sounds like a highly technical term. What this means is there's constant pressure from the market to innovate and improve efficiency, and this leads to more growth at lower cost. Number four, a growing market size. Incentives for economies of scale, because you're selling to markets all around the world. And by increasing your production facilities, you can reduce your unit costs. All of this in turn leads to accountability, because the market will demand only the best products at reasonable prices. In essence, it mitigates cronyism, fraud, and corruption. Altogether, this leads to growth and prosperity for multiple generations and for many years. In essence, the combination of free market competition and market signals through prices and sales levels provides incentives for producers to construct a variety of goods and services that benefit society at all levels, and those producers earn a reasonable profit in the process. Two notable examples, Singapore and Botswana. These two countries started out absolutely dirt poor in the 1960s after being released from colonialism. The poorest nations in the world, in fact. But the leaders of these new nations constructed policies that promoted free market competition and export orientation. The result? They achieved phenomenal economic growth and development for years to come. In fact, they have grown at rates surpassing that of the United States and Western Europe since the 1970s and right up to today.